Is it time to step aside? Today, we dive deep into Biden's journey, his triumphs, his stumbles, and the growing calls for his retirement. Political analysts and even some Democrats are questioning whether the Biden family is putting personal pride and legacy ahead of the country's best interests. Names like Gavin Newsom and Gretchen Whitmer are whispered as alternatives. French President Emmanuel Macron was overheard at a recent EU summit expressing concerns about Biden's ability to engage in complex diplomatic negotiations. A leaked memo from the Foreign Office revealed discussions about how to manage relations with the US given Biden's perceived decline. Imagine a world where the most powerful nation is led by a leader past their prime. Welcome to 2024, where age-old politicians are clinging to power, and democracy hangs in the balance. At 81 years old, Joe Biden stands at the precipice of history. Once hailed as America's steady hand, he now faces a critical question: is it time to step aside? Today, we dive deep into Biden's journey, his triumphs, his stumbles, and the growing calls for his retirement. Joe Biden's political career spans over 5 decades. From becoming one of the youngest senators in 1973 to serving as vice president under Obama, Biden has been a fixture in American politics. His experience was once seen as his greatest asset. But now, it might be his biggest liability. The gaffes and blunders throughout his career, Biden has been known for his verbal slip-ups. From calling Obama Barack America to his infamous "you ain't black" comment, these gaffes were often dismissed as Joe being Joe. But recently, these moments have taken on a more serious tone. Critics argue these aren't just simple mistakes, but signs of cognitive decline. The 2020 campaign promise: when Biden ran in 2020, he positioned himself as a transition candidate, a steady, experienced hand to guide America post-Trump. The recent presidential debate became a watershed moment in Biden's re-election campaign. His performance was described by many as "watching through your fingers," a cringe-worthy spectacle that left even his staunchest supporters uncomfortable. Throughout the debate, Biden struggled to articulate coherent responses, often losing his train of thought mid-sentence. He fumbled with statistics, mixed up key policy points, and at times, seemed visibly confused by straightforward questions. Even longtime supporters couldn't ignore the stumbles, the confusion, and the apparent struggle to keep up. Democratic strategists, speaking off the record, expressed deep concern about Biden's ability to withstand the rigors of a full campaign, let alone another 4 years in office. Reports suggest that Biden's family, especially his wife Jill, are urging him to stay in the race despite growing concerns. Jill Biden, a constant presence at her husband's side, has been observed on multiple occasions gently guiding the president, sometimes physically, sometimes verbally. This familial support has come under intense scrutiny. Political analysts and even some Democrats are questioning whether the Biden family is putting personal pride and legacy ahead of the country's best interests. Names like Gavin Newsom and Gretchen Whitmer are whispered as alternatives. The Trump factor looming over all of this is the specter of Donald Trump. Biden supporters argue that only he can defeat Trump again. But critics counter that his declining abilities make him vulnerable, potentially handing Trump a victory. For years, mainstream media seemed reluctant to discuss Biden's age and ability. But the dam has broken. Major outlets like the New York Times are now openly questioning if Biden should step aside. This shift in narrative could be the tipping point. The global perspective: it's not just an American issue. World leaders are watching closely. From allies in Europe to rivals like China and Russia, Biden's fitness for office has become a matter of global concern. The stability of international relations hangs in the balance. In Europe, longtime allies are watching with growing unease. French President Emmanuel Macron was overheard at a recent EU summit expressing concerns about Biden's ability to engage in complex diplomatic negotiations. The United Kingdom, America's closest ally, is also grappling with the implications. A leaked memo from the Foreign Office revealed discussions about how to manage relations with the US given Biden's perceived decline. Russia, too, is keenly observing. Kremlin insiders have hinted that Putin views Biden's struggles as a chance to test America's resolve on issues like Ukraine and NATO expansion. As we've seen, Joe Biden's journey from young senator to elderly president encapsulates a half-century of American politics. His career has been marked by resilience, empathy, and service, but also by gaffes, controversies, and now, serious questions about his capabilities. the decision Biden faces isn't just personal, it's a pivotal moment for American democracy. If he steps aside, he could be remembered as a leader who put country above self. If he stays, he risks tarnishing his legacy and potentially weakening his party's chances. Ultimately, this isn't just about Joe Biden. It's about America's future, the health of its democracy, and its standing on the world stage. As citizens, we must ask ourselves, what do we value most in our leaders? Experience or vitality? Familiarity or fresh perspectives?